Hi, it's Ruby Reed with Valhalla Organics. I'm here at the apiary and I'm excited to welcome our remote inspector as well as members of our community because we're going to make this video public so you guys can see what our apiary looks like and a little bit about how we care for the bees. So this is part of our certified naturally grown inspection. Every year, every certified naturally grown farm and apiary receives an inspection. And this year is pretty different because of COVID. So certified naturally grown has a new kind of inspection that is allowed during these crazy times, and that's a remote inspection. So that's what we're doing today, and we're pretty excited to welcome you. So I'm going to take you on a little walk around the property so you can get a sense of what our flowers look like and just kind of where the bees are situated and some of the ancillary things that we do and have to support them. And I also wanted to call your attention real quick to our apiary rules. So we have a whole bunch of rules around safety, making sure that no one is in the apiary unsupervised by me and that no one is in the apiary who might have a bee allergy without us knowing about that. So anybody who comes to the property needs to let us know if they are allergic to stinging insects. There's some information on our rules as well about what to do if the bees are unhappy with you. You're going to walk away slowly and quietly without flailing, without running, without freaking out, and no swatting. So we always wear protective gear when we go down to the apiary, so I'm going to do a little walkthrough around the property and then I'll suit up and we'll get a look a little bit closer at the hives and inside the hives. So stay tuned, we got a lot of good stuff coming today. All right, friends, so this is down at the back of our property. So if you were coming to visit in person, you would have driven down a long, bumpy, crazy dirt road and down a long, well, medium-sized, very bumpy driveway to get down to our property. And then the beehives are at the very, very back. I'm going to take a quick pause here and show you guys one of our integrated pest management systems. That's a yellow jacket trap, and you can see it's quite popular. My fiance's put some turkey in there, and so we are trapping quite a few yellow jackets. We put those out in the early spring, and we trap a lot of yellow jacket queens. So that helps to keep predation down for our hives because yellow jackets coordinate amongst themselves, attack the beehives, and rob not only the honey, but they also take the baby bees. They will eat live grown-up bees. They really can be a big problem. And so one of the ways that we handle that is just by trapping them. So if we go down this way towards the apiary, you can see that it's enclosed within an electric fence. And just get a little close up here. I turned the fence off, so this little flip switch, when that is connected, then the fence is on and electrified, and when it's open like that, then it's safe. So we've got a little, that's just to keep bears away from the bees, and we haven't had any trouble with that, but we have had like some badgers and some skunks and whatnot, so the electric fence has been really helpful. And it is solar powered because we're an off-grid farm. Up here we don't have grid power, and so the solar panel is connected to all of the things that make the fence go inside of that box. And then, you know, if anybody touches the fence, zappy zappy. And going down this way, we do have some water sources nearby, but they're seasonal, and so they dry up pretty badly during this time of the summer when we've had no rain. There's another quite prolific yellow jacket trap. So I'm really glad to see so many of them in the trap and not getting to my hives. And then this is a watering station, so we keep this full with nice clean water, and we've got some sticks in there. They are a little defensive of this space, and I'm not wearing any protective equipment, so we're going to stay over here where you can see that the bees are getting water. It's really close to the apiary, so even if there was still water in those external sources, they can get it a lot more quickly here. So down this way, the back of our property backs up to Bureau of Land Management land for 2.3 million acres, and it's just full of wildflowers. Like I said, there's some creeks and some little ponds out this direction, and so there are fields and fields and fields of wildflowers. All of these little bushes have already bloomed. They bloom a little bit earlier. And this is our perimeter fence. So it's a 5-acre property, and we have a 4-foot fence that goes all the way around the property. So that deters animals or people, any kind of problems from coming in this way. So against bears, we've got two fences, right? The electrified fence just around the apiary, and then the regular fence that encloses the property. So this is a little temporary area that I set up because I'm going to be doing some honey harvesting today. The bees have been very prolific this year, and they're making a ton of extra honey, and so we are going to relieve them of some of that today. And so that's why I have this little area all set up. So looping around, we're not going to get too close here because we are in front of the hives, and like I said, I'm not wearing protective gear. So in that bucket that's hanging, it's a pollen feeder, and they typically don't touch it all year long, but in sometimes the late fall and always in the early spring, there's not a ton of natural pollen sources for them, and so they do make quite a bit of good use of the pollen. It's a pollen, it's not actually pollen, it's fake pollen. It's a pollen substitute that we offer to them. And again, like I said, they pretty much leave it alone most of the year, except when they need it. So it's been a really good system for us. So we are going to get into these hives in just a few minutes, but first I'm going to suit up and make sure that, I'm taking care of my safety and all of that. So we will continue the video in a few minutes. So I'm going to give a quick introduction to our hives, starting from left to right, and we're going to be inspecting the hive all the way to the left today, which is named for Kamala Harris, hopefully soon to be Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So we'll be inspecting Kamala today, doing a mite check, and just making sure she's doing all right. Then to her right, the next hive is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And both of those hives were started 2 years ago from some bees from a local friend of mine, and they've been doing really well. Both of those have overwintered. Actually, all of the hives on that bench are second-year hives. So next up is Beyonce, and that's a queen that was raised in this apiary, so that's pretty exciting. Same thing with little Kim next door. So those two hives, you can see, have an extra box or two on top, and we're hoping to harvest some honey out of there today. The next hive over is Mary J. Blige, and she's given me some trouble because I don't know if you can see, there's a little, there's a spacer in there, and the bees have built some burr comb in that spacer area, and they've put some drone brood in there. And so last time I was in that hive, they were quite defensive, chased me all over the place, stung me 6 times through the suit. So I'm going to leave her be for today, and hopefully go back in once things have settled down a little bit for that hive. The next one over, that little one, is actually a hopelessly queenless hive. And then we started this year, we started that hive and the hive next to it at the same time with 2 Russian queens from a great source. And the little tiny hive did not like the queen that we gave them. We tried again with some queen cells, and they are just not having it. So today we're going to probably be doing a little bit of autopsy and just reassigning those frames to other hives that can use the resources. It's a pretty piddly amount of bees in there. They don't have any brood, and they've rejected every attempt at giving them a new queen. So it's too late for them to try to make a new queen and get her mated and returned, etc. But you can see the one next to it is already filled out in 2 deeps. That the medium on top of the 2 deeps is completely full of honey. We'll probably harvest that today. And the one on top is some drawn out frames and some new frames that I put on last time I was here last week. So we'll see how they're doing in that top box, but I think it's very dramatic to look at, 2 hives that were started on the same day, one of which accepted their queen, loved their queen, has been building and doing great. And the other one that just, no matter what I do, they do not like the queens that they have, and they are hopelessly, hopelessly queenless. So the next box over is a swarm that I caught last year. Her name is Gerlinda, and she's been really, really healthy and happy. We already took one box of honey off of her, and there's another medium box on there that's probably full or pretty full of honey. And then the box on the very top is actually some old frames that I'm getting rid of, but I want the bees to take all the resources out of those frames first. And so that deep box that's on the top of the inner cover is just up there for them to take pollen and any remnants of nectar or any other resources that might be in those frames, because they are 5 years old, and so they're going to be destroyed and melted down. And that's part of keeping everything fresh and clean in the apiary and making sure that we don't have any old comb or any comb that could have possibly been exposed to something bad. And that box that's right next to them is actually not a beehive. It's, again, some more deep frames that are on the docket to be destroyed. So we've just set them aside there so that we can know that those are the ones that we need to remove from the apiary. So most of the work today is going to be doing mite checks and just making sure everybody's doing okay. And like I said, if there's some more honey that's finished that we can take off those boxes that are really big, we'll do that as well. All right, so this next hive is called Anya, and she is a Russian queen. I started this year with frames from another hive and a few bees from another hive. So they are booming and doing great. This hive is really awesome because it started this year in just one box with the new queen. They're great propolizers. They're making a ton of propolis, and there's a lot of bees in there. They're in 2 deep boxes, which will be their home for overwinter. And then there's 2 medium boxes on the top. This very top one I just put in there last week, and just from hefting it, I can tell already it's full of honey. So I'm gonna pull this box off. This hive is actually so tall I've got a ladder. I'm not a tall human, so the ladder really helps. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this second box, because when I was in here last week it was pretty much ready to harvest. So I'm just going to get it out of the way, and then we can do our mite checks. Hopefully by then some of these bees will have cleared out from the boxes. It's a little awkward because, like I said, I'm on a step stool and these things are really heavy. All right, here we go. Okay, and we're back. So I'll try to get a couple frames out of here, get a good sample for our mite check. Is the mite check stuff? Right here. So the way I do it is I dump the bees into a bin, and then I get 1/3 of a cup of them, swish them around in this bad boy, and then we do the counts. So in case you can't see all that action happening, take this one out. Oof, this one's heavy. Frame on the very end is like super full of honey, and I'm at a very awkward angle. Okay. All right, so I actually see some brood here. Hooray. Thank goodness. So I'm just gonna go into the middle, grab a couple of frames with brood on them, get a sample one's actually a honey frame. That's ridiculous. And I'm starting to smell bananas, you guys, so you never know what that means. So there's only brood on one side of this frame. I'm going to go ahead and so the reason I shake the brood frames into that bin is that your grown-up bees, your forager bees, are really good at flying. And the nurse bees are kind of just, they don't know about that yet. And so your foragers pretty much all get up and go. And nurse bees stick around. So I see some drone brood in there. Sample, pop them in there, and then I'm gonna give it a little swirl right now, and then I'm gonna put the rest of the hive back together. Wow, that's a beautiful frame of brood in there. I'll show you this. That is gorgeous, right? Give these guys a whole new fresh box because they have literally filled up 3 full boxes of honey in a couple of months. So this is just a completely naked empty box. Bait frames can be a little funny. All right, and we're going to put the inner cover back on. And the outer cover. Come on, ladies. Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, these guys are really, really good propolizers. So I always like to see that. I think it usually means the hive is generally healthier. If they're producing a lot of propolis, they can keep themselves a lot healthier. Alright, so I'm doing my little shake. Usually I do a little swirl. Do a little swirl in the opposite direction. I try to get really good in there. You can see the bees aren't super happy with me at the moment, but I'm going to stick in here while we're doing the video. And I actually reuse the alcohol. So this has a piece of cheesecloth, like butter muslin. And so what I can do is take out, the bees. And then I find it really annoying and difficult to count them while they're in here. I don't actually see any mites. So I'm going to give the bees a little second swish. If I see 0, I always try to shake it up a whole bunch more, just in case, maybe I missed one. Sometimes you legitimately do get a 0 mite reading, but I tend to be fairly skeptical about that kind of thing. So, totally dropped a bee in the alcohol, you guys. Sorry, dude. Lady, you're a lady. So anyway, then I just pour the alcohol through the strainer dealy. And there's one mite. And that's it. So we got a 1 mite reading, and according to the IPM that I've set up and provided for you guys. We don't have to take any action with this hive at this time because there were fewer than 3 mites that we found in the check. So that's exciting. It's always nice to find that. One of the reasons I like to raise Russians is that they are considered to be a little bit more mite resistant. So I'm going to step away from this hive and let them have a minute to calm down, and I'll continue with the rest of my work. So there's Anya, good to go. Thank you for watching.